following podcast is recorded and produced by the Podcast Precinct in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com. The Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, culture.
The Nostalgia Funhouse proudly dedicates all episodes in the loving memory of Connie Chirac.
Come fly with me, come fly, let's fly away.
What are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
Ruining a perfectly good song.
For your information, I'm making my singing debut right here on Mr. Belvedere.
When?
Friday. Hey, where are you going?
To Beck.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the podcast, The Nostalgia Funhouse. I'm here, Johnny, and I'm very special. Another very special person is Andrew. And of course, the most specialist of us all, Will.
What a special episode this was. Good old Mr. Belvedere.
Hell
Yeah, Andrew, what exactly are we talking about today on this special episode?
We're talking about the very special episode of Mr. Belvedere titled Wesley's Friend, where Wesley finds out that one of his friends has AIDS. And
It's no big deal.
No.
I mean, he's going to miss
1986.
2 weeks of school. What a lucky guy.
I know,
Yeah.
they're going to get him a tutor. Could you think, just imagine like today when they said that?
It'd be like when because I think all of us went to public school, right? When you found out that like when I remember when I found out that homeschool was a thing, I was like, what?
Like,
You have to go to school?
can we? So the main plot is Wesley's friend, and you know how he's getting shunned because he has AIDS, and you know
For a kid who's had AIDS for 2 years, he's looking pretty good.
no, I think he just got AIDS.
No,
it's
they
true.
just diagnosed.
Oh,
They
just
diagnosed him.
Yeah.
They
'Cause he
just
was-
like he would. They said that he got a bad blood transfusion about 2 years ago.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
Andrew, let me ask you this: as the Mr. Belvedere person here on this podcast, would you, if somebody said, "Hey, I've never seen Mr. Belvedere. Tell me one episode to start with," would it be this one?
I think this is a damn good episode to start
Yeah.
with. It pulled me in. I am not a big
It
Mr.
shows
Belvedere
you the
fan.
compassion and the
This-
intelligence of Mr.
the-
Belvedere.
I mean, they had
The-
me laughing out loud at in an episode with this kind of a topic. What can't they do?
Yeah,
the car screeching halt of the very first 5 minutes of this, when like you're just getting like sitcom joke after joke, and all of a sudden, my best friend has AIDS. Comes out of nowhere.
yeah. Well, you didn't know. You didn't know what it was. Come on, it's
But the
1986.
parents did, but I'm just
I
saying,
mean-
like if I didn't know that's what this episode was about before watching it, would have been like my neck would get hurt from all this twisting and turning.
I'm going to tell you, I think we're burying the lead here. The very controversial subplot of the son having issues with his gender roles.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say because we can't go with
Which,
meat.
of course, his gender roles was the things he tried to bake in the oven, and he did
Yeah.
a terrible job.
Yeah.
He burnt
Yeah.
his gender roles.
He tried to
He
make
burnt the meatloaf?
meatloaf swan.
Yeah.
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 Messed up his sister's hem on her skirt there.
That suit that he made for good old honest Abe Lincoln.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Plaid
can we mention
plaid
this
suit.
episode had a Soupy Sales joke in it? When are we ever gonna?
What
go
is Soupy Sales? I don't even know what that
He's
is.
like a comedian,
person.
kind of like a
Oh, okay.
like
The
a,
old timey comedian, right?
All right, that flew over my head then, because I was not
Yeah.
aware of Soupy Sales.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I'm aware of Soupy Sales. I'm not like invested in Soupy Sales, but I knew what was going on with the Soupy Sales joke.
All
I'd
right.
put all my money in a Soupy Sales, and I'm broke. I invested in the wrong Soupy Sales.
But this is a very powerful episode because 1986 AIDS is, well, I wouldn't say it. It was,
It was rampant.
Well, it was a scary thing. Like, I remember
It was literally a death sentence. That's why the whole Magic Johnson thing is still incredible to our generation today, because that was obviously, I come from a love of basketball, and when Magic Johnson comes out and says, "I have HIV," like we all thought he was he
Just
wasn't
dead,
going to be
yeah.
around for years later.
Be honest, how did he get it and not Wilt Chamberlain?
I don't think it was around until the 80s, right? When did? Well, I don't know I thought the
I
history
think
of
it was
AIDS.
in the
That
Yeah,
doesn't
but
really.
but Wilt said with his body count, he didn't stop
Yeah.
after he was done playing. He kept going, Wilt to stilt.
Oh, for
So how
sure.
did
Yeah.
he not get it?
Oh,
Okay.
he made them all get tested first.
Oh, see,
Oh,
okay.
maybe.
So, according to HIV.gov, 81.
Yeah. Yeah.
81. Okay, so the 80s wasn't like all great, but we gotta sprinkle in some crappiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it was one of those things where God was like, this is gonna be an awesome decade full of toys, pop culture, movies, music,
Drugs.
and everything else. Drugs.
Here comes a little bit of AIDS. Yeah.
We're gonna
Wall
you're
Street
gonna try and
success.
dank it up a little bit.
Yeah.
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 You can't be living too decadent. You had to
Looks
have
like-
something to keep you in check.
Looks like June 5th of 1981.
They pinned it down to the day. How about the hour? Was it like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday?
Do they know which animal it came from? Like which exact animal?
Yeah.
Did it come from what was
I
it?
thought it was a monkey,
I
a baboon.
Like
yeah.
a type of monkey though. Like, yeah.
Why is it always an animal that it always circles back?
I don't know, because people are
Uh,
messed up.
Somebody had to have sex
Putting
with that
things
animal.
where
to start with.
yeah. People are putting things that they shouldn't be putting
Did you guys
in other
get
things.
Did you guys get AIDS pamphlets in school?
No,
I'm glad you
no,
didn't stop
'cause I
that
didn't-
sentence after AIDS.
yeah, I didn't start going to school till like 90. So it was
That's
kind of like
okay.
people were more well informed, I think, about it by that time. It was still a death sentence, but people were more aware of like, oh, it has to be blood to blood like contact,
We
or
all knew that, but even
bumping
again,
uglies.
even when Magic Johnson got to play in the All-Star game that year, there were literally other players who were like, well, I'm not playing because he's playing.
Yeah,
Well, that's what happened to Wesley's friend.
yeah.
Like Karl Malone, great example of a person, just a great person who never did anything wrong. Karl
No,
Malone.
never did
Oh,
anything wrong.
I heard he's amazing.
I thought
Yeah,
that
what a good
halftime
guy.
show was about him.
Great diamond cutter too, right? Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but same thing happened pretty much with Wesley's friend. There were once again we come into a President's Day thing. I didn't even realize
It's great.
February.
Yeah.
Fell
Coming in
into
as
that
Taft.
one. But yeah,
Delightful surprise.
Wesley comes in and he's gonna play Howard Taft, and you're like, who wants to play Howard Taft? And he's like, don't worry, I think I'm gonna play Abe Lincoln because my friend Danny that you guys like that doesn't do anything. Like they were making Danny saint material too.
Now is Danny a reoccurring character? Is this just a one and done?
I think it might be one.
A one and done? We don't get a follow up where he passes away.
It's supposed to be his best friend. Right out
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he sticks up for him because
And not right away.
well, no, because you're a kid.
You know, probably what it was Danny probably couldn't read the blood transfusion packet with those Coke bottle glasses he had on and that Beatles haircut.
Danny does do a powerful thing though when Wesley's like, I don't want to deal with Danny. And then for the pageant, he won't use Danny's Abraham Lincoln costume. So that's when we get good old Kevin making one, and he looks like Soupy Sales with a sombrero.
That sombrero was pretty great.
And then, Danny drops it off, and Wesley makes him go to the back door. And
Yeah.
You think that was a
I
innuendo?
was trying to dodge that so badly. I was trying to dodge
You
it.
think that was the writers trying to sneak one in past the censors? I think that's what that would. Danny's coming in the back
Trying to
door,
get
huh?
this nice heartfelt moment.
It was a bad blood transfusion.
Yeah, and he was like, and Wesley's like, hey, I didn't ask for it to be this way. And then, Danny's like, I didn't ask for this either. And I'm like, that's right, Danny.
Yeah.
You didn't ask for this.
Sometimes. But now I have an actual question about the setup of this family.
Yeah. What?
Right. Obviously, we all love Bob Uecker. He rules, and I was very happy that he's in this. My question is, Mr. Belvedere is the butler. What is Uecker's job what does the dad do? What's
He's a sports commentator.
Yeah, he really went
so
out
he's
on a
himself,
limb there.
basically.
He does.
Yeah.
He writes. He writes a column, and then he does have the sports talk show.
Yeah, actually,
the
Bob
radio.
Euchre was just an actor, but he went full method for this role. And
Well, like I was reading in the original unaired plot, he works construction, but that's
Okay.
not
But-
fun.
But
Everybody,
you got to have enough money to like be able to afford a butler and everything.
Yeah,
You know, that's a
construction
pretty
workers
nice
aren't-
house.
yeah,
no. Well, you figure too. The mother's in law school.
yeah, but she's not a lawyer yet.
Yeah, she's
She's
in
still-
school, so that's expensive.
From what
Yeah.
I could tell, Mr. Belvedere is like a Mary Poppins type character.
Yeah, I got that right away.
He goes
Yeah.
where he's needed. He writes his letter kind of like I think that was the most memorable thing about this as a kid is like where at the end of each episode he writes in his journal.
Yeah.
Kind of like Doogie Howser
Yeah, I've
writes
seen
a
that on-
journal on his computer.
I've seen that on certain setups to certain videos I've seen on sites I can't talk about, where the girl's sitting there writing in the journal about a great day she had.
But would you guys want to? I know you guys have been dying for this joke right after I told you to watch out for it.
Oh,
This
it's a great
joke-
joke. What a
this
joke!
Floored me.
Such a. It's
Something
great
you
because
can't
it's the
do
kids.
today.
Yeah, the kid comes in with a zinger.
By the way, this kid is great. Like as an actor, he's really good. I liked him a lot. As a, you get when you have little kids acting, we all know that could go all over the place with how good they are, how natural they seem. I thought this actor was really natural here. Like he had really good.
I thought all
comedic
three were
timing.
good. I even thought like
I didn't have
when
any complaints about any cast in this at all.
when the parents were like tiptoeing around it and the sister just comes in and she just lays it down matter of
Yeah.
factly. I'm like, that was good line delivery. And then the little, if you need anything else, I'll be upstairs.
But
Like,
isn't
So
that
let me
Handled that. I'm done.
Yeah, let me describe this joke we're talking about. So, they're at lunch. The four kids. It's Wesley and three of his buddies are sitting down to eat lunch, and of course, the topic of they got this President's Day thing coming up, and three of the boys are as white as can be, and the other one is not.
What color is he?
Yeah, I love
Well-
that as white as can be.
Well, Wesley, of course, has now got to be Abraham Lincoln.
This kid brought it on himself, though. He didn't want to give Wesley any props. He's like, the only reason you got the Abe Lincoln part is because Danny's got AIDS.
So Wesley looks at him and says, if you, if you give me that donut, I'll free you.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
can-
No, it was a cupcake. It was a one of the chocolate cupcakes with a little curly Q
Yeah.
white swirl on top.
Good old host.
My
Not
jaw
a sponsor.
hit the floor.
I was waiting for the kid to
immediately-
be like, "Fuck you say," and then like jump over the table and start brawling with him. What a joke. What a good topical. Whew. It's educational
Man.
too, because now we know, Abe Lincoln, he
He
freed,
freed the slaves.
yeah, the Emancipation Proclamation,
Man, what a
what a zinger.
Because that's
Yeah.
also the cool part is, once
cool part.
Danny though. Well, no, the cool part is once Danny and Wesley kind of reconcile and he's like, this was also a great kind of like mellowing out the mood. And he's like, hey, Wesley's like, how about if why don't you come? And he's like, I can't go. He's like, I'll sneak you in. Like the time that we snuck out of Bambi to go see Porky's. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, I when that line came up, my note here says Porky's is a kids movie.
It is a kid's movie. I did watch it as a child. It's
You watch it
kid's
through a
movie.
peephole?
No, I think my aunt threw it on or something and was like, hey,
Oh man.
we're watching
Oh,
Porky.
I have another question about this episode. So, the poor sick kid, Danny, what was his name? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he comes to the house to bring the Abraham Lincoln suit, and he actually comes to the house twice, like we said. Once to the front door, the next time through the back door, and
I was trying so hard to avoid that.
but you never
No,
see his parents or anything. So are they making this kid walk this poor
It's the
sick kid?
80s.
It's
Yeah,
the
it's
80s.
Dude, it's the 80s.
It's the 80s.
That's what happened back then.
He's like 7.
Who cares?
Yeah. Maybe he lives next door.
And he's sick. He's,
He didn't look that sick.
He just had the beginning parts of AIDS.
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, wait,
excuse
wouldn't he
me.
have
I'm
HIV then?
sorry.
Maybe that's why it's a 2-year diagnosis. HIV turns into AIDS.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now he's got the full blown. So
Yeah,
he should look a little more sickly. Let's be honest.
Maybe
That's
he's
His
all the
hair looked a
producers of
little
the
too
show.
nice.
maybe he's
Yeah, they
taking
need
some
to mess the hair
vitamins.
up a little bit.
Well,
Make like he's
maybe
been
maybe he
sweating.
didn't need glasses before.
Yeah.
But we were talking about, when they were talking to him about AIDS,
Everyone knows that AIDS affects your how about a website? It's an eyesight.
and I love the
Everyone knows AIDS affects your websites.
It will. Yeah, it'll affect
I
those
love it when
websites for sure.
Bob Euchre's talking to him about AIDS, and he's like, "Hey, you should be nicer to Danny." Like when he doesn't want to hang out with Danny, and he's like, "You can't get AIDS from fooling around." And he's like, yeah, you can't
There
get
was that awkward, like,
yeah."
little pause, little bit of a laugh track. Mr. Belvedere kind of gave him the side eyes, like, I think that's how you get AIDS, is fooling around.
But the sister coming down is a perfect example because I could see
Yeah.
my daughter coming down, and my wife and I trying to talk to one of my boys about something, and then all of a sudden my daughter comes down and just lays it all out.
Yeah.
And I love the fact too that George is trying to look it up in an encyclopedia because this
Yeah.
is the 80s. There's no Google machines.
Nope. Encyclopedia Britannica.
That is correct.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
good stuff back in the day.
Comes to
Man.
find out that the
We also come from a
Encyclopedia-
generation where our research had to be done like that in school. I
Yeah.
remember, like, I was very lucky that my parents actually bought a set. We had literally a guy came around selling them. Like,
Yep.
he went from door to door. And my parents
Mhm.
said, sure, we'll buy those. And that's how we had a set of those.
Yep.
And they came
Or-
in handy many a times for school.
or you
That
get
they did.
the cool commercial with the kid, and he's like, "Ugh." I don't think do you guys remember that? He's like in the white room, but there's like a desk.
Yeah.
He's like complaining about something, and he's like, "Oh, I got these Encyclopedia Britannicas." You could also win them on Double Dare, I believe.
Yes, they were often not only a grand prize, but I think a consolidation prize as well. It's like you
That's
didn't
what
win,
every
but you
kid
still get the
wants.
encyclopedia.
That's what every kid wants, an educational gift.
Yeah.
But the encyclopedia was made in 1946, and Mr. Belvedere made sure he pointed that out. The mother went to the library to get information, and here's Mr. Belvedere playing it off like, "Ha, I know everything." But all of a sudden, they get a phone call from the CDC.
Most
As
people
one
don't mess
does.
around.
Calling back Mr. Belvedere.
Yeah,
And
they
As
do
one
not.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
The
like,
CDC, they don't mess around. When I had face AIDS, and I was under house arrest for six
were you
weeks.
playing Abraham
I don't
Lincoln?
think this.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
That story still blows my mind, Will. You had one heck of a life
Yeah. I've done things.
and have things done to you, apparently.
Yep. Yeah, apparently. It's all good. Survived it. Didn't lose my eye. It's all good.
This was definitely though a very, very special episode. It taught us about AIDS and how it's something that we shouldn't fear, and the different ways that the only ways that we could contract AIDS. And I think if you show this to somebody, like if I was to show this to my kids today without the perspective, they would be like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Why are they so upset about this? Because I remember watching the Ryan White story. I remember watching it as a kid, but then for some reason it came on Netflix because we needed to revisit the Ryan White story, starring the wonderful actress Judith Light. And my wife watched it, and my kids were like, "Why are those guys dressed up like that?" I'm like, "Because he has AIDS," and they're like, "Oh, I thought he had COVID." And I'm like, "Nope, nope, nope."
They're
Yeah,
dressed up
Well,
like
there's
they're going
that-
to see E.T.
There's that episode of South Park where, Cartman gets AIDS from a blood transfusion going wrong and gives it to Kyle because he's a dick. And then he keeps fighting to try to get raise money for AIDS. And remember, like, nobody shows up but like 2 people.
yeah. 'Cause
And the whole thing was that AIDS was not a big deal anymore.
no,
Yeah.
it was like the
Isn't that the same episode where they go to Magic Johnson's house
Yeah. And
and
he's
he tells him the
it's a lot of
cure is
money.
just you just blend up
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
I'm
Jared
good.
had AIDS too.
Yeah,
I
not
remember that episode. That's problematic for a number of reasons now.
let's
Good thing he didn't have them because he could have really messed up some kids' lives.
One of my notes here just says, "This is a depressing sitcom."
I thought they handled it like the jokes that they put in there. I thought were well timed.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, I think they handled the subject matter with the
and
appropriate level of kids' gloves and
I
proper
could
information.
I like the ending a lot. I thought the ending was. I think they landed it this episode pretty well.
it's kind of sad though that did make a started to make a bucket list for
Yeah,
a small
Yeah.
kid. When I was thinking about it, I was like, they're making a bucket list right now.
Yep. Yeah. Well, a kid knows he's gonna die
yeah.
sooner
He
than he probably should, you know?
seemed very upfront about that.
You know what this episode also made me realize is they don't do school pageants anymore. Like that's just not a thing anymore.
I never
Yeah.
did one. We never
I did one. You never did a school pageant?
never.
I did it like a television show. It's kind of the same
Yeah,
thing,
we
right?
did a talent show, we did a
Yeah.
Oh
pageant.
yeah, talent shows, but nothing like where we dressed up. We did a. It's
I had
funny.
to be a
We were,
cricket.
we were just talking about this. Is
Oh, we had to do like one for Dare. Remember
I
Dare?
for Black History Month, we did
Oh, here we go.
like a reenactment of Rosa Parks on the bus.
Oh,
But
that had to be awkward.
That Colvin who did it first. And I got to play. Guess which role I got?
The
And
bus driver.
nope. I got to be the guy that complained to the bus driver about Rosa Parks not sitting in the back of the bus.
You
What a role.
narc.
Yeah.
What a role.
Did you get a Tony Award for that?
No, no, because also later on in high school, I got typecasted while reading. Well, probably because I was falling asleep while reading "Raisin in the Sun." I got to read the part of the guy that was telling. I'm just gonna say Sidney Poitier's family that they could have moved into the neighborhood because they were black.
Oh, yeah, using a sundown down.
Yeah, but here's some
Oh,
people that had that had AIDS
oh, we got a list of people.
around this time. Okay,
Let's hear them. Let's see how many are still alive.
we got
What? This is the depressing episode of this podcast.
The AIDS list.
just showing you because everybody brings it. You bring up Magic Johnson. Can we talk about the other people that have AIDS that are not?
He's still
with us?
around.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
let's
it's a
talk
story
about-
of triumph.
Let's talk about the
The not so lucky people.
yeah the people that
Oh
are
man.
here.
All right.
Tommy
Let's
Gunn,
get into it.
Tommy Morrison, right? The boxer.
No, he
Like,
found out that he didn't have AIDS or something. There's something weird with his.
Oh, okay.
We
He
got
had that weird AIDS.
Freddie Mercury.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's a big one.
Uh,
He's dead.
Rock Hudson.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
was huge. I remember
Yeah.
my mother telling me that was huge when they found out that Rock Hudson was gay.
And he's dead.
The aforementioned Ryan White, who did get it from a blood transfusion.
He's dead.
Pedro Zamora from Real World San Francisco. Very good Real World with Puck.
He's dead.
Oh yeah.
Alexis Arquette. I don't know if
Really?
in the 80s. Yep, has some AIDS. Liberace.
Liberace had AIDS?
Yep.
Oh man.
Showed AIDS. He had AIDS in his autopsy and that he died of pneumonia.
That's usually what gets you with the AIDS.
We can't forget.
It's the pneumonia.
We can't forget about 80s.
You said it so matter of factly.
80s Olympic diver Greg Louganis.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
Greg
a
Louganis.
very ironic last name.
I can't. Anthony Perkins.
Well, he was gay too, wasn't he, Anthony Perkins?
I don't know. Was he
I
gay?
thought he was. I'm pretty sure, yes, he was. He was
I don't know
married
who
with
he
kids,
is.
but he played Norman Bates. He was that
okay,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of their issues was he was a closeted homosexual.
Yeah, he was diagnosed with HIV in the late 80s while he kept it a secret, he worked with Project Angel Food, which provides meals for homebound people with HIV.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mike Brady himself, Robert Reed,
Oh boy.
had AIDS. I don't know who Keith Haring
This is a
but he's
fun
the artist.
list.
These people I'd hang out with if they were still
What
with
a
us.
fun list we're doing right now.
Roy Cohn.
I'm glad I got up early to get ready for this.
Roy
Early, it's 10
Cohn.
o'clock.
Why can't we talk about people like Amanda Blake?
Who's Amanda
But-
Blake?
Yeah, I don't know who that
Oh.
is.
You know who this is, Johnny. Better
I'm gonna
known
look it
as
up.
TV fans is Miss Kitty on 1960s TV show Gunsmoke. Aren't you a gun?
Oh, yeah.
I was more of a Bonanza guy, but I do know Gunsmoke, so yeah, I know who that is.
You know Charlie Sheen has AIDS now. Easy E, the rapper, died of AIDS.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Can't forget about Easy E. Well, and then there's Magic Johnson, but we've said his name enough. Arthur Ashe, the famed tennis player. Those are just some celebrities around this time that, you know.
How many famous tennis players can y'all name?
Not many.
I could probably do
Sampras?
10.
What's the bald
Sampras.
Agassi?
like
The
for
bald guy?
both
Agassi, yeah.
Steffi,
Who's the guy who was known for being mad, but he's McEnroe? That's the guy I'm trying to think of. Yeah.
Martina Navratilova,
Right. Okay.
the chick that got stabbed.
What?
Who's the one who was really attractive blonde one
Oh,
that
and
everybody knew?
Konnikova.
Yeah.
Jim J. Bullock had AIDS. Oh, these are Lisa. Jim J.
Maybe
Bullock.
you said maybe it just means like people who were helping him out.
I like Jim J. Bullock. I found another list. I'm looking through.
Oh man, I'm glad. So happy that we're doing this.
Well, this is a very special episode. We should enlighten everybody on the AIDS. Was it?
Yeah, we're glad you
was
are
it
listening
epidemic?
to get away from your lives, to take a moment of to have a just to get your mind off stuff. So we're going to hear.
I don't think I was ever. I don't think.
I do find it like kind of odd, growing up at a time where AIDS was like we said, pretty much a death sentence.
Yeah.
To see like those commercials now for like the medication that helps you just have a normal life, and it's just like these people all look just so happy, but they still have AIDS. And then I know they even say in the commercial like you can't, when you're on the medication, you can't like spread it sexually to your partner. I'm like, I still don't know if I'd.
Yeah, I think you're still taking a chance, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be doing that.
Do you think it's because of the age that we grew up in, though? With
Oh, for sure,
AIDS
because
thing where AIDS was very,
like you said, like if you showed this episode to your kids, they'd be like, "What's the big deal?"
yeah. I don't think they would. I don't think they would get it. That it's
No, they probably wouldn't get AIDS from watching the episode.
No, I know that because I watched the episode. Will,
Oh, great!
episode. I got
all three of us got to go. Thanks
in
a lot,
school.
Andrew. Thanks a lot, Andrew. We got to go get tested now.
I watched the episode.
Yeah, AIDS doesn't spread through TV.
I watched the episode. I remember reading the pamphlet in school. They read it to us. They sat it down. And they were like, hey, this is how you get AIDS. This is how you don't get AIDS. Check this out. And we were like, oh, okay. I remember I was like young when they gave that to us too. I think it was during health class.
I
It's
hope
like,
it was
hey,
during
that makes
math.
sense.
Yeah, it was just math class.
No, well, it was like a weird thing. Like one day it was like, hey,
We're going to learn, all right, kids, today in math, we're going to learn our multiplication tables, and also here's this pamphlet about AIDS.
yeah.
If you have any questions, feel free to let us know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
We prefer that you don't have questions.
In the
though.
Niagara Falls school system, I wouldn't be surprised. But I just
No.
remember, like one day it's like eat fruits and vegetables if you want to grow up and be strong and healthy. And don't let your parents buy you video game systems.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the next day it was like, here's a pamphlet. This is how you don't get AIDS, and this is how you do get AIDS. And this is what we're going to learn today.
This is what we do.
We learn
Classic
about
song.
AIDS.
Yeah.
But I
Classic
think this
Ninja
is
Turtles
still one of those subjects that are very, I don't know why it's very fascinating to me, because it's like you guys said, it's just something that's so in the past.
Oh, it's a slice
Yeah.
of history where
I don't think
it was
I still don't think
such
today
a
you don't
thing.
want it. It's not
No,
something you
it's
want
not
to do.
something you'd seek out.
It's
I mean,
But
that
we have
medication is
more.
still
We have
probably very expensive.
yeah, but we have more ways of helping people with it
yeah,
now.
it's
Yeah.
not as it's kind of like the way that COVID is kind of, some people might get mad at me saying that, the way that COVID is kind of smoothing out now, in a way, where at the height of it in 2020,
Yeah.
it was like, oh my goodness, don't do this, don't do that. Here we go, wear your mask, everything else. And now it's like, okay, we're back to normal life. And that's kind of how I look at AIDS now, where back then it was like doctors were wearing like full hazmat suits, like they were going to go after ET walking into hospital.
Yeah, yeah.
At AIDS.
Yeah. So this was a great episode of Mr. Belvedere.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to do a top 6 at some point of Mr. Belvedere. You know that, right?
It's going to be a while though, because we've just covered Mr. Belvedere. Don't spread it out the wealth there.
Yeah, we were going to just talk about
'cause
this
it's-
episode because this is clearly in the top 6.
Oh yeah.
Just for the
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln joke alone. Cracks the top 3.
Mr. Belvedere is
I did right. Okay. So I wanted to share my feelings about this is my first ever full episode of Mr. Belvedere that I can remember ever watching. So I present to you, do you think I like this or not?
probably not, because
I think you enjoyed it.
My very last note says crazy depressing, but actually a very great episode of TV.
Yeah.
I loved Mr. Belvedere growing up.
So I will say that I actually think this show has, just based on this episode, which I'm assuming most of them are not this serious.
No.
Yeah. But I did like the characters. I like Mr. Belvedere, that I would watch this show. So I actually did not hate this.
I think Brock Toon is better than Mr. Feeney.
I'll fight you on that. I will fight you on that. He's no Mr. Feeney.
No,
But I will say
I don't
he
think
could
Mr.
be-
Feeney's as world travel as Brock Toon.
Well, he's not from England, if that's what you mean.
Well, he's also, if you watch all the other episodes, he talks about certain aspects of things. Plus, too, he worked for Winston Churchill. Did Mr. Feeney ever work for Winston Churchill?
No, he's
Maybe
too
I'd have to
busy saving
rewatch
the
it.
world with. He's too busy saving the world with Michael Knight.
What did you
So,
say, Will?
Get off your high horse over there.
Said he might have. I'd have to go back and rewatch. I could see Feeney working with Winston Churchill, at least
Yeah.
studying underneath him.
Why? Because he's got Belvedere. He's got Lynn Aloysius Belvedere.
Now, what if I were to tell you perhaps these shows took place in the same multiverse and Feeney and Belvedere were bosom buddies?
I would watch that.
Oh,
Yeah.
with Tom Hanks?
I
Yes.
I love
yes.
it. See, how have you seen Bosom Buddies, but you've never seen Mr. Belvedere?
It's Tom Hanks.
You ever
I
see
like Tom
Philadelphia?
Hanks.
That's another Tom Hanks movie.
Well,
He's got AIDS in that
he's
one.
got AIDS.
See,
He's
it
got
all
the
goes
AIDS
full
in that
circle.
one.
AIDS
Yeah.
Awareness Month, so we can start revisiting just the whole
Yeah.
AIDS thing.
Oh, what a fun month.
Yeah.
Let's pick a deadly disease to promote just a.
Let's do Tom Hanks.
Former deadly disease.
Yeah. Let's bring it,
I'm pretty sure it still sucks.
or we'll do
Oh, yeah.
some Tom Hanks there, where we can watch him be the drunk uncle on Family Ties.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that one. That was good. Yeah.
All right, so I did give this episode a score out of 5. We're going to go around and do that.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's a 5.
I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I thought this was very good.
I
liked it. I do think Mr. Feeney is above, but that's because I grew up with Mr. Feeney. But I will say, I think Mr. Belvedere is pretty freaking great. So
He's the most attractive person, I think, in this episode.
Oh, gee. Good old an Aloysius
down.
Belvedere.
Andrew, got to write that down.
No,
Mr.
it's only
Belvedere
for
makes the
movies.
list.
It's only for movies. It's only for movies.
I want to hear the full list. You bet, Mr. Belvedere.
I give this 5 out of 5 Hostess cupcakes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What do you give it, Will?
I give it a 4 3/4 stars. This was a very good episode, very fun. Even
Yes,
with
it's
the
a riot.
heavy heavy subject matter. All the characters were great, and likable and
That
relatable.
kid dies in, like by the
I
show
was
said
gonna,
that kid's dead
I
in
was
here.
expecting him to be dead at the end of the episode. I
I
was kind of
was,
I
surprised
don't.
that he
Yeah.
wasn't.
I was too.
Okay. You know what?
I thought it was gonna go either one of two ways. Either the boy was gonna like do what he did in the episode, or he was gonna keep shunning him, and then his friend's gonna die, and then he's gonna be
Yeah,
upset that he didn't have closure with his friend.
yeah,
That's what
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna go either one of two ways.
yeah. And if the Mr. Belvedere show had balls, it would have went that way.
Oh
I
yeah.
miss. I do think the only thing this episode was missing, but I don't think they did it as much back then as say like they did in the '90s when they did very special episodes. Is I miss like at the end where the cast it's just
Oh
the
yeah, and
Oh,
cast,
yeah.
but they're the
serious talk.
actor, and they're
Yeah,
like, hey, if it's
yeah,
like alcoholism, if you know
Yeah.
somebody that's abusing,
Yeah, they did that a lot in the 90s.
tell
If you
them.
know someone who's a victim of spousal abuse,
Yeah,
they
you
have
know,
a
you
lot of
can
Boy Meets
call
World
this
will tackle
number.
a lot of these serious things. By the way, just
They
FYI.
sure would. Yeah, they did.
yeah,
Sean's dad was a drunk.
yep. And he had a picture
Uh,
of a Greyhound bus randomly in his trailer.
Yep.
One of the great things about Boy Meets World is they'd have random pictures of just random things hung up all the time, like celery.
Well, when you're the crappier out of the Savage Brothers, you got to have the.
I strongly disagree with it.
I I am a younger brother, and I always side with the younger brother, except for when it
I'm
comes
an
to
older
the-
brother, so Eric
Except-
is my muse.
Except for when it comes to the Savage Brothers, it's Fred over.
Well, it's because Fred read a very nice bedtime story when he was sick from school that one day, and that really shaped his life to be better than Fred's.
Well, he got to take his brother to the Nintendo World Championships.
That's
too.
true. He did do that.
Yeah, that is true. He did do that. Yeah,
I don't see Corey doing it.
No.
he doesn't have to because his teacher slash mentor was a freaking amazing talking car.
Well, good thing because he had shit for parents.
Well,
I will fight on this. I will fight on this.
Fred,
Those Matthews
throwing-
parents, they were
We're
terrible.
throwing down, Will. We're throwing down.
They were getting too frisky all the time, having more kids. Keep your hands to yourself, Matthewses.
Yeah, if you have kids, you're not allowed to have sex anymore.
No.
You heard it here first with the such.
Not the
I'm
the
just
Wonder
saying.
Years. They were
We're
very
recording this just about to see.
responsible.
We're recording this on Valentine's Day. I expect Andrew and Will to not get laid tonight. They have kids.
I gotta work anyway. But
Probably won't, to be honest
I-
with you.
in Little Monsters, all I'm saying is Ben went to go say, or Fred did save Ben.
We got to save this for a future episode of Versus, where we're each picking thing and then fight them out between each other.
Good old Mr. Belvedere.
But I did like this show. I do think I would watch more of it. I'm not opposed to doing a top 6 of this at all.
Is it
125
streaming?
episodes.
Is it streaming
It's
anywhere?
on YouTube? 125 episodes.
All of them are on
the
YouTube.
all on a playlist.
Wow, that's nice. Somebody did the Lord's work.
Yeah.
I think it's also on Tubi or one of those. I think I saw or Plex,
Okay.
one of those free ones.
Okay.
It's Mr. Belvedere. The greatest butler ever. Or actually,
Alfred?
it's,
Now he Alfred puts Bruce Wayne in danger constantly.
yeah.
Bruce Wayne.
He's an
puts Bruce Wayne in
enabler.
danger.
He really is an enabler. He
Bruce
really
Wayne
needs to
puts
stop
Alfred in
it.
danger all
That
the
too.
time.
Yeah.
But that's it for good old Mr. Belvedere in this very special episode.
All right, top 3 butlers.
So I think we should right now just tell people what they need to do to avoid getting AIDS. So you don't want to
Yeah.
have unprotected coitus or sexual relations with someone who has AIDS.
All right.
You don't want to get
Well, you tell me that now.
bad blood transfusion,
No,
and
there
you
should
don't
be-
you don't want to rub an open wound up next to someone who maybe also has an open wound who has AIDS. But
Well,
you
there
could
goes
kiss
my
them.
Sunday.
You could kiss them on the mouth. You could kiss them on the cheek. You could give them hugs.
Yeah.
You could pat them on the back. You can roughhouse a little bit with them.
This was
But don't
always
kiss
the
them
one
if you
that
both
got
have
me.
open sores on your lips.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, this was always the one that got me as a kid because they had to like explain it. Was always the avoid sharing needles.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Now
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like
yeah. Don't
4 or
don't
5
don't
years
shoot
old,
up.
and
Yeah.
they're explaining to me how people shoot heroin and then use the same needle, and it just was like blowing. Talk about the '80s at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blowing my
That's
little
like
kid mind out.
well, because it's like you're trying to comprehend the idea of AIDS, and then you're also then faced with comprehension of IV and intravenous drug use.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that's rough.
That's a lot to throw in a 5-year-old.
That is a lot. That's a heavy hand to be dealt.
Yeah.
I was probably like maybe even 4. I don't even know. I don't think we learned about this in daycare, but God only knows.
I hope so.
What a daycare lesson.
Yeah, I mean, those daycare workers were shooting up with heroin constantly.
It's
To
the
deal with
80s,
your
man.
bitch ass kids.
Nobody cared. Nobody cared a damn about a kid.
Yeah, nobody daycared.
Yeah, you got AIDS, walk to your friend's house.
Nothing wrong.
You think I'm giving you a ride? Get some exercise.
No. Yeah.
Do you think his parents were afraid that they were going to get AIDS? Is that why they made him walk?
Maybe they didn't want to see him anymore.
Nah, he was a good kid.
This show's getting darker and darker.
Yeah.
They weren't even at the pageant. Those are
You
bad
know
parents.
what? We have not
They
done.
were. You're right. Well, he snuck him in. Remember, they
He's
didn't know he
not
was supposed to be there.
He's not
But that
supposed
also
to be
means that
there.
his kid. That also means their kid was missing for hours, and they didn't do anything about it.
It's the 80s, man.
Yeah. He's
It's
out
the
making a
80s.
fort in the woods finding wood porn.
Yeah, but it was dark.
Well, how do we know that?
Yeah.
I didn't see any
Because it was a
outside.
pageant.
Well, it could have been daylight savings. Could have been,
Did they
summertime.
sneak Danny in the car? Now that I'm exploring this, like, did they walk together and then the Owens drove?
Yeah, how did he sneak him in? No, Mr. Belvedere knew.
Yeah, Mr. Belvedere knew because
He
he
kinda
was
hinted
there
that he knew
first,
the
and then
whole
the
time.
parents came
Yeah.
later.
But Mr.
That's what it-
Belvedere
yeah.
does not drive.
Oh, I did not
Then
know
maybe
that.
they did walk.
Okay.
Maybe they lived within a walking distance of the school.
Well, maybe they floated with an umbrella.
Yeah, could have done that.
That's reserved for Mary. Let's not get crazy, Johnny.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to go out of bounds on this.
You're touching a very sore subject with me with Mary Poppins. Let's keep Mary Poppins in Mary Poppins' land.
What's the respect of Mary Poppins' name?
Yeah.
It's Mary Poppins. But yeah, that is
Yeah,
it.
I really like the remake the most.
Very special episode of Mr. Belvedere, Wesley's friend. You can find it on YouTube, and you can find us on YouTube too, and wherever you get your podcasts. And with that being said, what may not be nostalgia for you may be nostalgia for some.